February 8th, 2013, 09:29 hours. Investigator Spain, employee number 13062, here with Correctional Officer Sumpter, employee number 22736, for an interview for Internal Affairs Case 2013 IA-010.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to it. Gave it to your sergeants and lieutenants some months now. Can you be more specific?
I don't know. I had this number since before Thanksgiving, so it had to been like October, I guess.
Okay. Did you fill out the change of address / phone number form?
I did not for the 641 number.
That's a requirement.
Okay.
To do that.
Time got away from me, and I kept saying I was gonna fill out one, but I didn't get a chance to.
Okay. All right. So after getting your property back and everything yesterday, did you see if you've got everything, or is any county property missing, or do you have it all?
My locker room key.
Locker room key.
My the employee key. I haven't gone through all my stuff because, like I said, I'm still unpacking and everything. So I need to check for sure, but that hadn't come up yet. So that would be the only thing that I'm missing. But everything else is there.
If you find it, great. If you don't find it, and like I said yesterday, you've got to report that to your supervisor and do a report on missing property.
I'm going to look through my little junk stuff when I get back home, when I get off this afternoon.
Okay. All right. Now, yesterday we talked about, how, I just basically asked you if everything was okay, and you said that you were moving and whatever. So can you just kind of tell me again how it is that a deputy doing an eviction came to come in possession of your county-issued property, right?
My lease was up in my apartment. I moved in with a friend. I'm renting this home. The home wasn't going to be ready till yesterday. So in between my lease being up and me moving into the home, I moved in with my friend. She was behind on her rent. She was told she had 30 days from February 25th to move out. They came the following week, put her stuff out.
Well, it's only February the 8th.
That's what her. But
you said she was given 30 days from February the 25th. February 25th hadn't even happened.
That's our whole point. That's her whole point.
So you're saying that the apartment complex told her that beginning on February 25th, she had 30 additional days.
Well, January 25th.
Okay,
she had 30 days from there. Yeah, January 25th, she had 30 days to move out, and they came February 6th. And my stuff got in the midst of everything.
So were you there during the eviction?
No, I was at my new house cleaning and moving stuff in.
Okay.
I was at my new spot.
Now, the sheriff's office has your address listed as G20 College Park.
Oh, I need to update my address.
How long have you not lived at that address?
It has been, over 2 months?
Before we go on, it's important for you to understand that I'm in internal affairs.
Right.
And at the start of this, I told you that we were conducting an interview for an internal affairs case, and the number I gave was 2013 IA-010. So this is internal affairs case, which I'm interviewing for. So this is an investigation. I'll get to the meat of the investigation in a second.
Okay.
But as long as you understand that the statements you're giving me right now, obviously are being recorded, and this is part of the investigation, and it's critical that you're truthful in your statements.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So we've established that.
Definitely.
Okay. So you haven't lived at 5420 Riverdale Road, apartment G20 in College Park in over 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't slept the night there in over 2 months.
It's been since December.
Okay. And you said the lease terminated? Was it like the end of the lease up or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my lease is up.
When was the lease up?
I turned in my 30 days the end of last month. And this month would have been my last official month as far as my lease.
Be more specific on your dates.
February. I turned my papers in January. You got a calendar? I can see January date. The 21st, I turned my 30-day notice in, and she ended my lease for this month. So at the beginning of this month was the end of my lease. So you be February 1st.
You said she terminated the lease at the end of this month.
The beginning of this month, and I turned my papers in January 21st, my 30 days.
You gave a 30-day notice on January the 21st.
Right.
And they terminated the lease at the end of January?
Yeah, because she said she didn't want to charge me for the month of February. So that's why she went on and just said, okay, well, you turn your 30 days in just to have an official document, but I'll end your month in February, the beginning of February, so I won't charge you for that month. So it officially ended as far as me paying and moving out February.
Had you moved all of the property out of that apartment?
Mm-hmm. That's why all my stuff was at.
As of when had you moved out all property from that apartment?
I officially moved everything out.
Not officially. When, as of right now, is there any of your property in that apartment? When did all of that property get moved out? When was the last piece of your property moved out of that apartment?
I moved that out of 5420. It had to been the end of last month.
End of January.
Mm-hmm. Because I was still moving stuff out, but officially the end of last month. I think I got last piece of clothing and cleaning up and stuff done.
Okay. So as of February 1st, nothing that belonged to you was in the apartment?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, I got all my stuff out. That's why everything got mixed in with her stuff.
And when you turned in the 30-day notice, the apartment complex was okay with that notice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I went yesterday to Brookside Apartments, 5420 Riverdale Road, College Park, and spoke with Angelica, the apartment manager.
Right.
And she told me that she didn't accept your 30-day notice, that was no good, and the reason it was no good is you were already behind on payments. And on the same day that the deputy served the eviction at the house you were staying at,
they had one for the 5420.
Right.
Yeah. I spoke with her as far as the payment arrangement and all that, and she knows by the end of this month that I'm going to pay her the money and I'm going to turn the keys in to her.
So you haven't turned the keys in yet?
No, I was trying to get by there yesterday to hand her the mailbox key, but I had a few more pieces of mail that I needed to get out the mailbox, so that's why I held on to the key. But I got my address changed and all of that stuff.
The money that you're going to pay to her, what's it for?
For the past 2 months' rent that I needed to pay her when I moved out in December. So I owe for December and January.
So when did you move out again?
It was December where I officially moved out. But I officially moved all my things out at the last week of January. But I was physically out of the apartment and everything in December. So it's been 2 months since I've been in the new place.
Okay, moving on to a different subject. This is Friday, and earlier this week, I think Monday, you called out of work.
Right.
What was the purpose behind you calling out of work?
My car got towed. I parked downtown, and my car got towed. My friend ended up finding it for me and paying for it to get it out. She told me I could park a certain place, and it didn't work out like that.
Okay, so that Sunday night, what address did you sleep at? Excuse me.
I don't know her address. It's downtown. I'll have to get it from her.
Okay. So when you woke up Monday morning,
my car was
at that address in Atlanta?
Right. And I woke up, was getting ready to come to work, and my car was missing.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know her address off the top of my head.
Is it an apartment or a townhome or a home or?
Yeah, it's like a student living housing.
Is it on a campus?
It's not on campus. It's off campus, but I think it's like a student-funded living house.
So you have your car back now?
Yeah, it's out there.
And you told your supervisor that, right? What'd they say?
Right. I spoke with Sergeant Marshall. They said they was fine, keep them up on about the car, and I called her and I let her know that I just found my car and just got it back.
Okay.
And that was that.
Did they tell you that they needed paperwork showing that the car had been towed?
She did tell me, but I told her I didn't have a receipt or anything because I didn't pay for it. My friend did all of that.
What company towed it?
I have no idea, sir. Like I said, she took care of all of that because she told me I could park one place, and I was really upset about it. So she took care
here's my concern,
of everything. But I can get it for you.
Yeah, here's my concern.
Okay.
First of all, the sheriff's office doesn't really like to serve our own employees
right
with civil paperwork.
Right.
It just doesn't give a good appearance to the sheriff's office. Okay, so anytime that happens, it causes a little bit of concern.
Exactly.
But things happen.
Yeah.
People get sued, and there's civil papers that have to be served, so that
that
automatically isn't a red flag.
Right.
But within a week's time, the apartment which your name is on is a sheriff's office serves an eviction at that apartment, which is Brookside. At the same day, a deputy serves an eviction at the apartment which you're staying at, which the person on the lease is also listed as your emergency contact.
Right.
And sheriff's office property belonging to you was discovered at that apartment in the same day.
Right. And
in the same week, your car was towed. It would seem like the assumption would be that the car was towed by a recovery agent from the...
I had a rough week.
Okay, so when the car was towed, was it because you parked it in the wrong spot? Or
That's what it was, and this is the second time, honestly.
Let me finish the question.
Oh, I thought you was asking me a question.
No, I am, but I didn't finish it.
Oh, okay.
So when the car was it towed because you parked in the wrong spot, or was it towed by a recovery agent working for the company that you have the car financed with?
No, I parked in the wrong spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason that's important.
Right. No.
The reason that's important is, we have policies that talk about sheriff's office employees' financial responsibility.
Right.
It talks about garnishments, and it talks about paying your debts and that type of thing. So, because you were associated with 2 evictions in the same day, in one way or another.
Right.
And your car being towed, it seemed to me like in a week's time, your car had possibly been repossessed.
No.
And been evicted from 2 different apartment complexes.
It's right outside. Right.
Okay. Well, if your car gets repossessed by a financing company, you can get it back.
Right.
But in order to get it back, you've got to usually pay all of your past due payments and some penalty fees on top of it.
Right.
So you are going to need to get the paperwork to prove that the car was towed for parking in the wrong spot. Now, was there a ticket issued? A parking ticket issued?
It wasn't, because my car was gone. It wasn't like a ticket on the window or anything. It was just gone. And I know one time, normally when I park downtown, they'll just take your car and you have to figure out where the towing company
But your
is.
friend picked it up?
She did.
So she knows where she picked it up from?
Yeah, I can call and I can get some info from her.
Okay.
And try to prove. But it wasn't definitely repossessed or anything.
So whose name was the car in?
Mine.
But she was allowed to pick the car up?
Yeah.
How would that work?
I was with her when she went to go pick it up. When she went to go pick it up, I was with her. So that's how I was able to show my ID, and she was able to pay for it and do all of this stuff and stuff like that.
Okay, so that doesn't really make sense. You were saying that your friend picked your car up.
Right. She paid for it. That's what I meant.
Finish.
She paid for it.
You're saying your friend picked your car up.
Right.
But now you're saying you were there too. So wouldn't that mean if you were there and it's your car, wouldn't you be the one that picked it up?
Right. But I showed her my ID, but she was actually the one that paid for it and had the actual name of it.
Where'd you go?
As far as the tow place?
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of it. I have to call her and get the name of the towing company and all of that, and the receipt and all that stuff.
Okay, yeah, do that.
Okay.
And let me get that.
All right. Yeah, I have to call her and get that from her. But I was with her when to go get the vehicle or whatever. I was driving her vehicle, and I showed her my ID, and she paid for it and got the receipt and all of that. That's why I wasn't able to charge the receipt and all that. But it definitely wasn't a repossession.
Okay.
But it definitely has been a rough week.
Yeah. Well, the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is the most important thing and the reason why I've got you here in the first place. I haven't even brought it up yet, but before I bring it up, there's some things I want to go over with you. Like I told you before, you being truthful in this investigation is going to be critical. You started in April of 2012,
right?
Which means you're still probationary employee,
right?
Okay. Everyone is entitled to make mistakes,
right?
And if the sheriff's office were to terminate employment with everyone who made a mistake, there'd be nobody working here,
right?
Everybody makes mistakes,
right?
Including myself and anyone. So we keep that in mind. And I pulled your background booklet, and I looked at the comments from the people that were sitting on the hiring board from when you were applying to get the job here.
Right.
And they made comments like, excellent candidate, hire her now before she goes to PD and things like that.
Right.
They spoke highly of you. Their comments weren't, this is a good employee, candidate. This was like, get this person now.
Right.
And I've spoken with your supervisors, and they've been pleased with your performance.
Right.
I pulled your personnel file, and I didn't see any type of disciplinary action, any write-ups or anything like that.
Right.
But one thing that concerns me is when the deputy entered the apartment at 7878 North Main Street, your friend's apartment where your property was, you say you were staying there at the time. The deputy reported that in the apartment he smelled a strong odor of marijuana coming from within the apartment.
Right.
And the eviction crew said the same thing. They smelled the same smell coming from within the apartment.
Right.
I noticed in your background booklet that you stated you had previously smoked marijuana. Last age that you documented usage was age 21.
Right. College.
So my question to you is, if I take you for a drug test today, are you going to pass it?
Honestly, no.
Why not?
I have been around marijuana. I have used it.
How recently have you used it?
New Year's.
Okay.
Bringing in New Year's.
Okay, while you were employed here.
Right.
All right, so since you've been employed here, how many times would you say you've used marijuana?
It was for New Year's, and I went home for, what was that, Christmas break, and I was around it, and I used it.
When you say you went home, where is home for you?
South Carolina.
Which part?
Orangeburg.
Where's that?
In between Charleston and Columbia.
Okay. Because my dad lives in Greer. I don't know if you know where that is. It's just near Greenville.
Yeah, that's upstate.
Yeah, and he used to live in Columbia, but I'm not familiar with Orangeburg.
Yeah, it's in between Columbia and Charleston.
Okay, but those two cities are pretty far apart, though. It's a couple hours drive between.
Yeah, it's about 45 minutes from Charleston and maybe like 30.
Okay, well that's not. I was just curious because I kind of know the area a little bit.
Right.
All right, so you went home, I guess, to visit family or something in South Carolina during Christmas. And again around New Year's.
Right.
Now, let me ask you this question, and think carefully, because your analysis is not going to detect THC from marijuana from months back. It's a limited amount of time that it stays in your body.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
If you used marijuana during New Year's, why does the apartment smell like marijuana on February the 5th?
I'm just like I said, it's not my apartment. She has people in and out of there all the time. So
okay. That's fair enough.
Right.
Now, the person whose name is on the apartment, I think it was Dominique Lacey.
Right.
It's the same person you have listed as an emergency contact.
Right.
Is that a roommate of yours?
It was a while back, but not anymore. She moved into her own place.
So the new location that you're moving to is not the same location that she's moving to?
No.
When did you two cease being roommates?
What was that, last summer?
Okay.
Like last July, last August.
Okay. That's not good. So when you came back to stay at the 7878 North Main Street address, how long were you at that address?
That was for the 2 months.
So you stopped being roommates in August, but then you became being roommates again for 2 more months?
Yeah, for December until I moved into my new place.
During that time, were you aware of marijuana usage in the apartment complex?
I was, and I was pretty much back and forth from there. And my sister, she's downtown, so back and forth between there. But it was closer to the job, literally like right up the street. So I got kind of spoiled with just going straight up the street, getting back and forth to work.
Okay. you're aware, obviously, that marijuana is legal. I mean, that goes without saying.
Right.
And it's a concern for the sheriff's office if you have an employee engaging in illegal activity.
Definitely.
Okay.
And I definitely moved myself from out of that situation.
But I will note that I can't make you any promises. All I do is take the facts and report those.
Report them.
That's it.
Right.
But it's been my experience that the sheriff's office doesn't guarantee, but is much more likely to give leniency to a truthful person who's made a mistake than a person who's made a mistake and then also lied about it.
Definitely so.
That having been said, this is a pretty serious mistake for a probationary employee to make.
Right.
But I do appreciate your truthfulness and your candor.
Right. That's all I can be is
okay.
honest about the situation.
All right. I don't have any more questions for you. If you can't find your employee key, then still make sure you report that, because that's county property we have to account for.
Okay.
And the good thing is that employee key that you're talking about, it just opens a locker room.
And that's
it doesn't open any sensitive areas, so it's not a big concern of the sheriff's office.
Right.
But we still have to make another one. So
okay.
Also, get that towing paperwork.
Okay.
And you don't have to turn it into me. As a matter of fact, just turn it into your supervisors.
Massage?
Yeah, because I think they're the ones that initially requested it.
Yeah. Okay.
But if they requested it, then you want to make sure you're following through with what it is they're asking you for.
Right, because after she did it, she was like, okay, never mind. Like it was nothing. But I'll call her and try to get a copy
I would like
of
for you to
everything.
follow up with that.
I will.
And hand that to them.
I will.
Okay. I don't have any more questions for you. Before we go forward, it's important for me to let you know that this is an internal affairs investigation, and as such, you're not allowed to discuss this matter with anyone except for me or another member of internal affairs.
All right. Okay. So what's next from here?
Hold on 1 second. Now, that includes not being able to discuss the content of our conversation or this investigation with your coworkers, people outside of work, even your immediate supervisors. Like I said, you can only discuss this with me. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to me about it, you can talk to someone else in internal affairs.
Okay.
And if that's not available to you, then you can exercise the open door policy and speak with someone in the command staff.
All right.
What happens next is I type up my findings and I turn them over.
Okay.
And then they get reviewed, and then somebody will be in touch with you to let you know what happens next.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you so much, investigator.